Opening tip. Anticlimactically goes out of bounds. It will be Villanova basketball. Fantastic atmosphere here at Storrs. Fans on their feet, even with students not back on campus yet.
Yeah, I could actually hardly hear you there in the open. The jams were going in here. The crowd has really filled in. Looks to be a sold-out crowd tonight.
Bryn McCurry calls her own number. Rebound, keeping it here. Danae Carter on the offensive glass. Along the baseline, the three on the way, and just rounding out. Snatched up by Sarah Williams for the UConn Huskies. But already Villanova getting a couple of shots off there against UConn.
Yeah, and that's a good sign for them to get that offensive rebound, because size is going to be maybe one of their biggest hurdles in this game against UConn. So good initial attack on the offensive glass.
AZ Fudd lets it fly and drains it from deep. One of the best shooters in the country getting started early.
Yeah, top 10 in the country in both makes per game. She's making about 3 per game at 48%. That is scorching. That is 7th overall in the NCAA.
And Kim, that's on 110 attempts. That's a big volume that she has under her belt. UConn forces the turnover. One of the tops in the nation in opponent turnovers forced per game. Great positioning inside. Sarah Williams with the easy layup.
And there's that kind of size differential that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Sarah Williams gets that deep positioning in the post and a quick early entry into her, noticing that ISO and size advantage.
That pass goes awry, and that'll be back-to-back turnovers for the Wildcats. That's something that opponents have to keep in check against this UConn team to make sure they don't get flustered and don't give the ball over to the Huskies.
Yeah, this is a UConn team forcing 25 turnovers per game, and that one's not the worst thing in the world because it's not a live ball turnover. This is a UConn team that can score quickly and go on those monstrous runs because of the points off of turnovers.
35 points off turnovers per game. That leads the entire nation for this Husky team. Skip pass, Ashlyn Shea being patient here in the half court, feeds it inside. Good dose of Sarah Williams to begin, but Danae Carter with the denial on the interior.
And Danae Carter giving up a couple of inches in that matchup.
Bryn McCurry drains it. Villanova defense to offense here in the first.
Bryn McCurry coming back from an injury, missed all of last season. She's been really sensational, especially as of late, coming off a 20-point game against Providence.
Ashlyn Shea turns and fires. Flying in for the rebound is McCurry. You can see has a brace on her right leg, also a sleeve on her right elbow, coming off an elbow injury as well. She's been gutting it through and having the best season of her career. Kelsey Jones slices through the defense, and Sarah Strong with an emphatic block.
Yeah, Sarah Strong, we know, is somebody who can defend any position on the floor, 1 to 5. She averages about 1.5 blocks per game and does a nice job of just staying with Jones there and positioning herself to get the block, but not a foul.
We haven't seen Jasmine Bosco just yet, puts her first shot up. I'm really looking forward to seeing her against KK Arnold today.
Yeah, and we heard Gina Oriema in shoot-around today say, make sure number 11 does not get an easy look. That was certainly an easy one for Sarah Strong on the post-up. Already a couple of paint points here for the Huskies.
McCurry barrels her way to the paint. A good take. It's going to stay Villanova basketball with the Huskies leading 7-2 here early. Villanova 1 of 6 to start this game, as Ryan Allen is going to check in, another sharpshooter for the Wildcats. Looks like this play might be under review. Early here at Gamble Pavilion, UConn leading Villanova 7-2. Just 3 minutes into this game, Coach Oriema bringing an appeal on this out-of-bounds play, and that is potentially risky because if you are wrong and it's upheld, you end up losing that timeout.
Yeah, so the officials initially ruled it Villanova basketball, but it has been determined a successful appeal from UConn. So that's one of the new rules in the game this year. Coaches can appeal as many times as they want throughout the game at any point of the game, and as a result, they get possession back and they maintain the timeouts.
Ashlyn Shea, the step through, the finger roll not there, finds her own miss that didn't touch rim, and KK Arnold turns on the jets to the cup.
Just so quick with the ball. Jasmine Jasmine Bosco, who's a quick player herself, just got completely left behind by Arnold there.
Coach Oriema told us today at shoot-around he feels like Arnold is the most improved player on this team, more sure of herself and making better decisions with the ball. Here's McCurry. That's no good, and the rebound corralled by Sarah Williams. Easy Fudd will also dash her way to the rim and converts.
This UConn team is just so quick in transition. They're assertive. They know what they want to do. AZ Fudd had a couple of defenders in front of her, and she just said, I'm getting to the rim. There wasn't enough resistance from the Cats.
Another three for Villanova. Kennedy Henry, who's 40% from beyond the arc this season. Villanova, 2 of 8 shooting to start this one.
Yeah, Henry has been one of the best freshmen in the conference. They're excited to have her back after missing the last 2 games.
Easy Fudd slicing her way through, doesn't have the touch. Bosco up ahead to Allen along 2, and too strong there. Going to be UConn basketball leading 11-5. But UConn so far has had great success getting into the paint, 8-0 paint points so far.
Yeah, we know this UConn team can really hurt you from anywhere on the floor. This was just too easy of a drive by KK Arnold. You have to have better foot positioning there, and that this was a tough take from AZ Fudd, who, as we mentioned, shooting almost 50% from deep this season, but she's showing the whole arsenal with that play.
Fudd off target there. The rebound corralled by Allen, and she'll push the pace up the floor. Top 2 teams in the Big East. Only loss in Big East play for Villanova against Marquette as Bosco in trouble, bailed out by Allen. And a rebound snatched out of the air by Shea. KK Arnold drives to the rim, and she's going to be shooting 2.
Arnold staying aggressive, taking it right at Jasmine Bosco once again. First replay we had just seen was down the left, this time on the right side, just a simple hesitation. Coach Dillon talking to Bosco. She's got to be ready to move those feet and try to keep Arnold in front of her without fouling.
First personal foul for Bosco. You see KK Arnold there still wearing her mask after she suffered a broken nose at practice before the Providence game. Since she's been wearing that mask, 7 points per game, 5 steals per game in the small handful she's played since, but she sets the tone for this squad, both sides of the floor. Carter bringing it up the floor against Sarah Strong, almost tripped up. Bosco from deep will launch. And the long rebound up for grabs, staying with Henry and the Wildcats. The freshman smothered by the UConn pressure, and they're off to the races again. And then picked off by Henry. Turnover there by Keely Heckel.
Yeah, that was a perplexing one from Heckel.
Henry straight on, no good. Danny Cesaretti new into the game, wrapped up by Heckel. You could tell she wanted to try and help her team after that interception she allowed. Possession arrow going to the Huskies. That's what you like to see from a player, Kim, is when a player has a turnover that they're trying to help in some way get the ball back for their team.
Yeah, and Heckel, she was also having her praises sung by Gino Oriema today, say she's taking big strides every day. Gino said she has had probably her best week of practice so far.
Lazy Fudd to the rim, that is no good. Fudd today, 5 points, 2 of 4 shooting so far. Today Carter will take it out against Blanca Quinones. 6-time Big East Freshman of the Week, new into this game as Villanova turns it over, and that is their 5th in this first quarter so far.
And UConn, KK Arnold specifically with the one-on-one assignment, just trying to frustrate Jasmine Bosco. And you can see that a little bit right now. And I think I quickly mentioned earlier, today the focus in UConn practice was to make sure number 11 in blue does not get an easy or clear look at the basket.
Blocking foul called on this side. 3:37 on the clock, still UConn basketball. That will go on Carter. Arnold gets it into Fudd, the hesitation, the attack, and again, misses at the rim, didn't quite have the angle that time. Bosco slowing it down. The floor general for the Wildcats in her second season from Canada here with a tough take. And the rebound snatched down by Sarah Strong.
Didn't get the finish, but I like that she stayed aggressive. Even if she's not necessarily going to be the one taking the shot, she's going to try to keep creating for her teammates.
UConn continues to be aggressive, getting to the rim and getting to the free throw line. Here, Strong is fouled.
Sarah Strong just adding to the list of UConn players who have been able to get downhill. That has to be a focus for Villanova right now, is the primary defender on the perimeter, making sure they're in a good stance, making sure their foot position isn't just allowing UConn players to turn the corner.
Strong this week, the Big East Player of the Week. 21 points per game, 8 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 5.5 steals, shooting 72%. We were talking off air before the game where her stats are so ludicrous, you sometimes have to double, triple check. You're right.
Yeah, it's insane. She's shooting 60% on the season. Her three-point shot has really been picking up as of late. She's shooting 42% from deep. And, of course, everything else she could do on the defensive end and distributing the ball as well.
And she gobbles up yet another rebound. Quinones pushing the pace, and an offensive foul will go on the freshman from Ecuador.
Yeah, Blanca Quinones is such a talented player, just so much rawness about her game. And these are some of the areas that I think Gino's still working with her on, was joking with her a little bit after shoot around today. He should get $1 for every foul or turnover she's had this season, so I guess he can add that to the tally.
KK Arnold picking pockets out here, goes right at Allen and finishes for the three-point play.
Good has KK Arnold been to start this game and really all season long, as we were talking about Sloan. She is such a burst of speed on the offensive end of the floor. She has gotten really confident at just taking that ball herself. And she has just really brought the energy for UConn to start this game, which is no surprise.
Coach Oriema says there's a kind of frenetic pace she brings to each game that the other team may not be equipped to handle. She's doing exactly her job today.
Yeah, but she's so good on the defensive end as well. She has 10 steals in the last 2 games.
Remember, against St. John, she had 3 steals in about 45 seconds. She says, I think I just black out on defense. Here's Henry driving. She's going to go to the free throw line.
That's one way to black out. Just get steal after steal. That's a healthy way to do it.
So Henry here to shoot 2 free throws. UConn leading 17-5. They have been persistent. I know on a 6-0 run. Meanwhile, Villanova, one of its last 11 from the floor, trying to find any kind of rhythm offensively.
Yeah, we heard Denise Dillon talking to her group today about really trying to sustain the runs of UConn. It's really what they've done to any Big East team, or really any team in general they've faced. So Villanova just has to take this possession by possession right now.
Sarah Strong calling her own number. That's no good. And one and done there for the Huskies, but bringing the pressure. It is smothering no matter who the opponent is. It looks like that whistle is going to go on shade.
This UConn pressure is going to be constant. Oh, they're calling that on Villanova.
It's going to go on Kelsey Jones. 2 players going after that ball. She still seems a little incredulous about it. So Sarah Strong is set to bring the ball in. And coming in for the Wildcats, Brooke Bender for the first time. Two minutes to go in the first quarter. It's been a strong one for the UConn Huskies. Here's Sarah Strong taking McCurry right to the rim, and she gets stuffed and held up inside.
Yeah, tough stand by Bryn McCurry, just staying in front of Strong, staying vertical. Not many players block a shot from Sarah Strong.
Takes a lot of self-belief as well, guarding that player. Potentially a National Player of the Year, and she was going to get the upper hand that time with a magnificent reversal.
Yeah, and you could tell UConn was looking for that little bit of a disadvantage inside. Strong taking it right back to McCurry off of a nice cross screen and seal.
It was almost like she said, all right, you got me that time, but not this.
Let's run it back.
Villanova, another miscue there. We've seen a couple of those kinds of turnovers.
Sarah Strong off to a strong start. No pun intended. Already 6 points in this game, has scored from different areas on the floor, but she could really be a problem on a mismatch on the interior, because a lot of teams will put a guard on her because of her perimeter skills, and then she can feast on the inside.
Now a big post player on her, and Kylie Watson, she has no issue with that, taking her right to the rim. Like you were saying, Kim, you throw different kind of matchups, different kinds of body types on her, and she's going to be able to find an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I think teams really have to do that, kind of rotate different looks on her just to keep her on her toes a little bit too, and just kind of get a feel for what type of game she's going to have. And so far in this one, she's gotten most of her points taking it off the bounce or posting up inside.
It's Villanova basketball. Bosco, the second leading scorer in Big East play, 0 for 3, 0 points to start this game.
Credit to KK Arnold. I mean, she is everywhere in front of Bosco. She finally gets a little bit of space with a crispy crossover right to left.
Quinones, a nifty move, slices her way inside, stops on a dime, and gets the jam.
I was going to say, when we talked to Blanca today, she said her main focus right now is to eliminating mistakes that she had earlier in the season. I think earlier in the season that would have been a charge. I like the jump stop there.
Bosco turns it over for Villanova. That is number 9 on the Wildcats compared to 2 for the Huskies.
Huskies just make it so difficult to get into your offense, to feel comfortable in your offense. We were talking to the Villanova staff today. They said it's so hard to simulate that pressure in practice. It's just so unique. It's so elite.
UConn first in opponent points per game in the nation, first in defensive rating on paper, maybe by other metrics, the best defense in the country. It's 5 to shoot. Quinones floats it through for 3. Henry has got a hustle here into Bosco. She takes a glance up, gets over half court. Well, he gets rim, but no good that time. It is a dominant start for the Huskies, 26 to 8.
Positioned well. They have to try to contain that ball handler as well. That's been part of the problem.
That's what is so difficult about facing UConn, Kim, is that they are the top team in the nation in three-point field goal percentage, 41% as a team. And then maybe that's how you get more exposed, giving up those paint points.
Really no weaknesses offensively or defensively, any weakness at all to this UConn team.
MD in Tambu tries to score right there inside. That's no good. And UConn also limiting second chance opportunities. That's also 0 for Villanova. AZ darts her way to the rim.
And there it is again, where a UConn guard is just really too easily being able to turn that corner. So you have to slide out farther. This is a freshman who had just come into the game. But as a whole, the team needs to do a better job of getting positioning in front of the ball handler and cutting off those angles.
Kylie Watson, her first season with the Wildcats, has 4 wins against UConn in her career. 1 time with Oregon, 2 times at Notre Dame, where she was the last 2 seasons. I don't think many people can say that in their careers.
She'd like to make it 5-0. It's been a little frustrating for her, dealing with some different on and off injuries since she got to Villanova this summer, but they're really optimistic about what she can continue to give them, especially with defense and rebounding at 6'4", something they desperately need right now in this game.
She's still working on that connection with her teammates, and she has been in and out of games and practice, but really an important piece of this Villanova team with her 6'4" size, her experience in her 6th season. Arnold orchestrating this offense, leads strong to the rim, and a three-point play.
How aggressive has Sarah Strong been, just really looking for her shots in this game? This time she just fooled the defender by posting up at that elbow and then spinning, getting the defender on the top side, and a strong cut. They haven't been able to stop her in any way to start this game.
So fun to see KK Arnold be that floor general for the Huskies. Over 5 assists per game in Big East play. That was just a magnificent pass. Here comes that full court throttling pressure. The Villanova Wildcats able to break. Tambu is going to reset, get in the position. Watson, but that is taken away by Strong. Not just the block, but the steal. What can't she do? Quinones to the rim.
How about that little finger roll on the finish? We enjoyed talking with Blanca Quinones today, native of Ecuador, had been playing professionally in Italy before deciding it was time for a new challenge.
We know what a great defender Sarah Strong is. She leads this team, and also in blocks and steals.
Blanca Quinones is such an asset coming in off the bench. Looking like the Big East Freshman of the Year and the Big East Sixth Woman of the Year.
Kennedy Henry nets a 3 for the Wildcats. It's their second triple of this contest. 33-13 is UConn's lead. Quinones, you saw it on that last play, the kind of length that she has at the guard position. Strong is directing traffic to try and get it to herself in the post. One-on-one against McCurry. The hook shot, too good.
That is sophomore Sarah Strong. Freshman Sarah Strong wouldn't have directed her guards to move the pass for a better entry like she did on that play.
A block on the jump shot by Sarah Strong. She is having
physical
way. You're right, a lot of hustle we're seeing in this one.
I think the officials should have blown that whistle a second or two sooner.
Sarah Strong, meanwhile, up to 3 blocks, and we have 7.5 minutes left in the half. Sarah Strong with 13 points. Villanova has 13 collectively. Easy Fudd surveying this defense. But it all runs through Strong, sending a couple off-ball screens. Now 15 to shoot, a shade, gonna reset. Fudd quickly sets her feet. Halfway down and out for Fudd. Henry has it poked away by Fudd. It just never ends. The motor never diminishes for UConn.
Yeah, and that lazy and soft of a pass just unfortunately is not gonna work against this UConn pressure.
Jasmine Bosco going up against one of the best defenders, I think it's safe to say, in the country, in KK Arnold. There's Henry. 10 to shoot for the Wildcats. Bosco against Fudd. Can't find any kind of breathing room. Now she's blitzed by Arnold, tries to turn the corner. The fade, good that time. And a shot clock violation for this UConn defense.
Yeah, I mean, that possession right there sums it up. Gina Oriam has said if UConn wasn't in the Big East, Jasmine Bosco would be the best player in the conference. And that's no disrespect to her, but obviously Sarah Strong and Easy Futter on the court, but she had 3 different players just on her every move there. They instantly switch the screen. When she's able to get into the paint, she's met with somebody coming over for help. I mean, that is the sign of a connected defensive unit. Everybody knows when they're switching, when they're helping. They're ahead of the rotations.
Allie Zabel, number 11 for UConn, in her first action. Backdoor cut, another easy lay-in for the Huskies, shooting over 60% in this game. That poked out of bounds, still a Villanova basketball.
And AZ Fudd's IQ and her reads have gotten so good because of how good of a three-point shooter she is. She knows she's very seldomly just gonna get a clean catch and shoot. She really has to work for any sort of touch, so when they're heavily pressuring her on the perimeter, that's when she's able to hit them with some of those backdoor cuts.
AZ Fudd, career highs in points per game, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage this season.
Assists and steals per game, too. She's really rounding out that game.
McCurry, baseline shot, doesn't go, and Sarah Williams back working the glass for the Huskies. Kaylee Heckel has been playing behind KK Arnold. A strong, confident take for the sophomore.
Yeah, KK Arnold transferring in after her freshman season at USC, where obviously had a ton of team success there. But she's just been a great additional piece for Gina Auriemma coming in off the bench. She's always brought great defense. Now her offense starting to settle in a little bit too. She's been efficient this season, and she's just another player like Arnold that can really be quick off the bounce, getting downhill.
She really does try to replicate Arnold on the defensive end too. Auriemma saying that there can't be that big of a difference when KK is off the floor and what she's giving us, and she's really delivering in that way in the offense, as you mentioned, coming along as she builds her confidence in a new spot.
And I think there would be coaches that would argue that sometimes the look that comes in off the bench for UConn with Heckel coming in, a smaller lineup, could sometimes be more dangerous than the starting five.
Good hustle there by McCurry, still trying to make a play on her backside, and the jump ball. Possession arrow keeping it right here with the Wildcats. Villanova currently in a scoring drought nearing 2.5 minutes. Trailing 38-13 against the Huskies. McCurry has that snatched away by Heckel. They are going to whistle it a jump ball, and it's UConn basketball. You can never relax playing UConn.
Yeah, I mean, when you're just standing with the ball, you can't just have it over your head like you're in a drill. If you're standing still with the ball, you better have it in a triple threat position with your body protecting the ball. Heckel just snatched that thing away.
Feels like you're a character in a horror movie. You have to be aware of what's around you at all times. There's threats constantly lurking playing against this team. That will be a UConn turnover, though, every second violation. Full court pressure for UConn. And Tambu gets into the paint. Ryan, couple dribble pull-up, that's no good. And the rebound gobbled up by Heckel. Villanova just 4 of 22 shooting in this game. That's under 20%. Williams kicks it out. Zabel for 3. That's not good. Henry pushing the pace the other way. McCurry, the trailer. Another rebound for Heckel. She's just soaring for those rebounds at the point guard position. That's her second. Trying to lob it inside. Another one of her passes into the post that's picked off by Villanova. And then a whistle at midcourt.
Yeah, there's a couple of these plays are going to haunt her in the film room with Gino tomorrow.
38-13 is UConn's lead midway through the second. So step aside here in scores.
These players back tonight. So many who are still thriving in women's professional basketball. And you talk about that no repeat. I mean, this year's UConn team certainly is looking like they will be in the mix to do that for the first time in a decade.
Those players offered a legacy unlikely to be matched or eclipsed. And even someone like Morgan Tuck, she's the general manager of the Connecticut Sun. They just have had incredible legacies. They've been outspoken about this sport, women's basketball overall. You look at Nafisa Collier, Brianna Stewart, as that 3 is netted for Villanova. That is their 3rd.
Yeah, that was from Ryan Allen, who's shooting 48% from 3 this season. So maybe a little bit of a deep breath there for Villanova as they try to really cut into this possession by possession. That's all you could do against this UConn team.
Sarah Williams, the offensive foul. Bryn McCurry is trying to fight for ground down there in the post. It is a tough battle against the UConn front court. McCurry gets it into Bosco, who speeds up the floor. Hasn't found many opportunities today, but here she goes coast to coast for her 2nd bucket of the day.
Yeah, Jasmine Bosco is such a talented player. We haven't seen it too much yet today just because of how good UConn's pressure defense, but that clip right there just shows how steady she can be, how she can get to her spots. We'll see if she can continue to settle in a little bit as she feels out this pressure that has mostly been applied by KK Arnold.
We hear from opponents playing Utah that you cannot be flustered when they build a lead or go on a run, have to stay possession to possession just as you laid out. Here is Henry calling her own number and draining the three.
Not just draining the three, draining it in the face of Sarah Strong. That is impressive for the freshman.
She's up to 10 points now, the first Villanova player to double figures, as Strong is again thwarted inside, and Villanova takes it away. Bosco goes right at Williams. She's in a tough spot now. McCurry, pump fake, pull up, yes!
Really nice couple of possessions here from Villanova out of the timeout offensively and defensively. They just look a little bit more relaxed right now. They're getting to their scores, Bosco and McCurry with the plays on both ends.
A 10-0 Villanova run. Strong trying to thread the needle. It's a Yukon turnover. That's their 6th so far of this half.
And this is a Yukon team that at times has struggled with turnovers. They are coming off of a season high 21 turnovers against Creighton.
KK Arnold, what a take!
And that's just emblematic of what she could do. It's been a couple of bad possessions for Yukon, and here she is again on the defensive end.
Arnold in attack mode for the Huskies, leaves it for fun. She's got another triple.
And this stretch here reminds me of our conversation with Gino Auriemma today, where you asked him, where can this team still improve? So we just mentioned the turnovers. Gino said there's just times where they get into some droughts, where they don't score for a couple minutes, but then they can just go on these crazy runs. So he'd like them to eliminate those couple of possessions, but they can so quickly answer right back at you with defense to offense, with the three-point shooting from AZ Fudd.
McCurry get it into Janae Carter. She's wrapped up. It's another jump ball staying here with the Wildcats.
That's a couple times now where UConn has gotten Villanova into these traps right over half court, which is really the worst place you want to be, where you want to stop your dribble because there's absolutely nowhere to go. So Villanova has to do a better job of trying to keep that ball in the middle of the floor, attacking a little bit deeper over those initial traps.
Difficult shot there for Bosco. UConn back in possession, leading 43-23. Quinones stopped along the baseline, but she is fouled. Well, we'll have the Jeep halftime report coming your way shortly. We'll take a look at our first half stats, have analysis from here in stores, and learn more about superstar Sarah Strong of the UConn Huskies, potentially a National Player of the Year, as Villanova calls a timeout here. Huskies with the possession. Arnold dishes it off. A ludicrous pass over to Sarah Strong. What a first half this has been for KK Arnold.
That's the improvement that Gino Auriemma has seen from her this season. Just a beautiful read, creation, staying under control to deliver that pass across to Sarah Strong.
.106 on the clock for the Wildcats. Cesaretti surveying this defense. And a whistle inside the paint is going to go on Arnold, as she was trying to battle in the paint with Allen.
In real time, to me, it looks like Ryan Allen was the one who threw KK Arnold off of her. They may have called KK Arnold for a grab before, but
that'll be just the first on Arnold. On the baseline, out of bounds, Bosco puts it through for two.
And it's crazy. That's how quickly she's going to have to get a shot attempt off tonight. I mean, that was almost a tap. It was so quick, but she knows she's going to have such little separation because of how talented an offensive player she is.
Strong wasn't quite ready for that pass, a miscue by the Huskies. Strong gets there in the passing lane, and Yukon forces the turnover yet again, forcing 25 per game against their opponents this season. Strong surrounded Quinones. A good look at three, and that rebound ripped down by McCurry. Shot clock is off, under 15 to shoot for the Wildcats. Final shot opportunity for Bosco. Behind the back, between the legs, double teamed, and she came down hard. It looks like she's in some pain.
The foul associated to Yukon number 35 is Yukon, her first, team's fifth.
And gingerly
Villanova
gets to her feet.
I was looking at that in real time, thinking finally a possession where she can make her move without KK Arnold hawking her everywhere. But credit to Ashlyn Shade and AZ Fudd for bringing that same intensity, and that's what you were talking about. This is a UConn team where the pressure never lets up from anyone, whether in the full court or the half court.
Bosco is good on the first, 3.8 seconds left. And Tambu is at the scorer's table to come in for her. And she hits both. She's walking off on her own power.
Yeah, she actually completely shot that free throw only on her left foot. That right foot was in the air. That's how much pain she's in.
KK Arnold speeding all the way down. Won't get it off in time. Maybe if would have needed a jump stop right there, but UConn leads at the half, 45 to 27, shooting 55% from the floor. That'll be the end of the first half, a big lead for the #1 team in the country. Join us right back here in stores after this break with first half stats and analysis. Stick with us.
And that's why every team that comes into this game says we have to do a solid job of sustaining the UConn runs. Well, it is certainly easier said than done, especially in a sold-out Gamble Pavilion.
UConn will start the second half with the basketball. 45-27, make it 47 to 27. Sarah Strong, just that easy. She's got 17 points.
Yeah, just add that to the assist tally that we were just looking at. Sarah Strong so good at moving without that basketball. Her teammates have been finding her tonight.
Another steal for the Huskies. Here's AZ Fudd like a freight train getting into the paint. And Cyril Williams is going to slow things down until she finds Fudd. Oh, good for a three that time. Villanova back with the basketball. Already turned it over, surrendered a bucket to start off this second half. Danae Carter off the drive, and she will knock down the triple.
Villanova just has to stay confident offensively. This is a team that has many different offensive weapons. They've had 4 different leading scorers in their last 4 games. They have to continue getting everybody involved, but the paint points continue to be an issue defensively for UConn, who's just a little bit undersized.
Sarah Strong picking the pocket. She goes right at McCurry. No whistle, but it's going to stay here.
I don't know if they're going to rule that a block or not, but McCurry has had multiple blocks on Sarah Strong this season.
She's fearlessly stood her ground against Strong, who we know is not only one of the best players in the country, but also, well, her strength, her size is formidable. Strong on the attack, leaves it short. On the follow-up, right there, Sarah Williams for a three-point play opportunity.
Yeah, but Curry continued to defend Sarah Strong well on that possession, but the other Sarah Williams, there to clean it up. That's what she did for several years at Wisconsin. It was about a 20-point double-double score every night. And she's a really nice asset for Gino Auriemma, even though the numbers aren't what they were at Wisconsin, but that's obviously because of the product around her on the floor.
When she was at Wisconsin, she was in the 99th percentile of usage rate. It's a completely different scenario here. She does what she does best, and that's defend the rim right there on that drive by McCurry. Arnold is going to put up a three and rattle it home for the Huskies. Their 4th triple tonight.
KK Arnold is just feeling herself this evening. Uh-oh, here she goes again.
KK Arnold, free runway, and she lays it up and in. UConn continues Massachusetts' dominant start at home.
KK Arnold turning things up tonight at Gamble Pavilion. Defense to offense, she's a menace on that end of the floor. KK Arnold, the third Husky into double figure. She's got 13. Still holds from winning those championships that may come back to you tonight as you were seeing those replays show on the big screen.
It's a combination of things. So first of all, we're sitting behind the UConn bench, so coach yelling at the players. And just how hard it is, remembering how hard it is to get to that moment. It was unbelievable. And to do that in my freshman year where you don't understand how hard it is to get there, where, you know, it's Stewie, Tuck, and Mo's fourth year doing that, just especially in retrospect, understanding how impossible of a feat that is, it's unbelievable. So I feel really honored to be a part of that team and to be back here with them.
Coach Oriema said he didn't feel like that group, especially those seniors, ever really felt the pressure or the weight of those expectations. You were just a freshman at the time, but did you have that sense too about learning about how they carried themselves with those expectations?
Absolutely. I mean, especially as freshmen, you really look up to your seniors, and they were a great senior class. They did a really great job of taking us under their wing, and so we felt safe in a sense. Our games honestly were never very close, so I never really felt the pressure of that. They always took care of us in that sense. Even in our championship game, we won by what, like 30 or 40 points, so it was never really that close. And again, in retrospect is where you appreciate that, because in the moment you don't understand how big of a deal that is, but looking back, it's so unbelievable. And so again, I just feel lucky to have learned from people like that, where that was the norm my very first year in college, learning from some of the best players in the world.
And the dominance you mentioned in the championship game, that sounds an awful lot like last year's national championship team. And it looks like this is a team that could potentially run it back again. Why do you think that this program is able to sustain that level of success that was like a decade ago from when you were playing?
I think the coaches and the level of expectation they have for their players is unmatched. I mean, a lot of times even in the WNBA and Unrivaled, you want to be with UConn teammates because of they prepare you the best to be a professional, what they expect from you every single day. They get the best out of you. And so because of that, they've been able to sustain a level of excellence for 40+ years.
Now, Cheryl Reeve is not the only WNBA coach that values UConn players for just knowing how to play, for having those instincts and what is instilled in them once you leave this program.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people recognize the value of that. I think UConn players, I'm biased, but are coveted because of that. Again, we're just trained to be professionals. We, in a sense, are professionals even at the college level in the way that what's expected from us, how professional we need to be, the way we need to carry ourselves, how important first impressions are. I just learned so much about how to become an adult here, and it prepared me to become an actual adult once I left college.
That is important. Since you were at shoot-around today, I will say Gino was a little bit hard on the players today, but would you say he's gotten softer with time, or is he still as hard on them as he was on you and your teammates?
You know what? It was a tough practice today. They did get in trouble. But I see him softening in areas like we couldn't show tattoos. We couldn't have colored hair. We couldn't, you know, they don't have to dress up for games. Even if it was snowing, 3 feet of snow, we had to wear pantyhose down, walking from our apartments, you know.
Oh my God.
So they loosened
like
on things for sure. Yeah. But each generation says that. Stu and Diana were telling us the same thing. You know, he was way harder on us than he was on you guys. We're saying it to the guys now. So I'm sure they have loosened up, but he was still tough today. So that just shows, you know, an old dog doesn't really learn new tricks, right?
When you look at this year's team, as Kim mentioned, a team that has an opportunity to potentially repeat, winning this game right now 61-36 over the second-ranked team in the Big East. Sarah Strong, another easy finish off a feed inside. What are your impressions of this team?
Obviously, they have some really amazing offensive players, but I think their defense has been so stifling, is what I've noticed. It looks like, you know, Villanova can't get a clean shot out, and that is really what, you know, coaches always say, defense wins championships, and it really is, because there's so many good players now. People are gonna score, but it's the teams who can defend that are gonna go the farthest.
And Fee, we know you are a mom now. I don't know, is your daughter here with you tonight or not?
No, not tonight, unfortunately.
Well, what excites you about showing her, telling her about the Yukon chapter of your life?
I think it's just so fun and such a special opportunity that she's surrounded by excellent women who are excellent in their field. And so that starts obviously here at UConn. I hope to be able to bring her here a little bit more. She's just so young. It's hard right now, but to be to have these kind of people who it's the norm to be around, I think is so special, and hopefully it shows her what's possible and that this is, you know, this is something that's attainable for her.
Ashlyn Shade for 3. That's no good. Collier, what is a fee? What is? I'm liking like you're playing on
Collier with
on the court.
Yeah, very formal all of a sudden.
Fee. What does it feel like when you're able to connect with other UConn teammates to be back here again, and also with the new players as well? I saw multiple players that were reaching out to you too.
I think it feels like a family, no matter what era you came from, no matter if you played together or not. It feels like a family because we all have similar experiences. We all have the same coach, which is so rare to have that over decades and decades. And so we can compare experiences. And even though they may differ a little bit, you still have that general sense of what it takes to become a UConn player and what it takes to become a successful UConn player. And so we bond over that.
Nafisa Collier, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back in just a moment here from Storks.
Field goal percentage, just 34% is a crazy number. And Sarah Strong, this is a typical line for her, just continues to fill it up. Her career high for blocks is 5, so we've got plenty of time for her to match or surpass that. Maybe right here.
Today Carter is in trouble. She'll kick it out. 10 seconds to shoot for the Wildcats. Being outscored here in the third quarter, 18-12. Here's McCurry launching, and that'll be a 24-second shot clock violation right on cue with the defense for the Huskies.
Yeah, but it's smothering. They don't let up. Everything is a denial. Everything is ball pressure. A lot of screens are switched, and they really could just speed up a team, and they never allow you to get comfortable on that end of the floor.
Working the offense through Strong. One dribble pull-up for Ashlyn Shade. That touched nothing going down, and Shade, her first points of today.
And that's just a super fundamental play. Pump fake, one dribble. Nobody meets her underneath that screen.
Quinones in the passing lane. Gonna make it a pick 6. Can't convert. Shade with the follow-up. It's gonna be Villanova basketball. It's 12 steals now for the Huskies. Pretty much any metric you look at, defensively especially, it is where UConn is excelling this season.
Yeah, the personnel and the depth of Gina Oriema's roster this year are just allowing them to play at this incredibly intense pace defensively.
23 points off turnovers, nearly another one there inflicted on themselves. 8 seconds to shoot, and a 3-point play opportunity coming up for Cesaretti.
Danny Cesaretti did a nice job there of attacking the switch. The defenders had instantly switched, and while Quinones was trying to close out, she just beats her, gets her on skates a little bit, and gets it to go off the glass.
And she converts on the 3-point play opportunity. Cesaretti seen her minutes go up as one double-digit scoring game this season, but counted on as a key member off the bench for this Wildcats team. Quinones, the hesitation. She'll pull up along the baseline. That was beautifully done.
That is a freshman sensation right there, coming off of the flare screen. Once again, attacking that closeout. There she is on the steal. We really enjoyed talking to Blanca today, who I'm just amazed that she just learned English, and she was speaking perfect English with us today.
Her English was so good. She also speaks Italian. Of course, her native language is Spanish. She is from Ecuador, but she said, oh yeah, Coach and I, or one of our first conversations was in Italian.
And she is like a mini Sarah Strong, maybe not mini because they're about the same size, but in terms of a player that can get the rebound and go coast to coast, nobody stops her, too deep in the paint, goes around. But I really loved her mentality as only a 19-year-old player when we were asking about the decision to leave professional basketball in Italy and come here. She said, I knew it was time for a new challenge. And the moment she heard from UConn, it was pretty much case closed. She knew she was going to come here. And she did say she still remembers that first conversation in Italian with Gino. Gino said his Italian's great. Blanca said not so much.
But what you're saying is a good illustration of what a great culture fit she is because of that mentality to constantly be pushed. Here's Sarah Strong leaving it off the hustle play. Shade will turn it over. But no matter the score, not surprised to see Strong make a play like that at midcourt.
I mean, National Player of the Year candidate, filling up every stat sheet known to existence, and she's throwing her body on the floor in a near 30-point game. Look at sophomore. This is the coach's dream right here, to have your best player on the floor making a play like that to lead and inspire the teammates on the floor with her or on the bench.
2 minutes to go in the third quarter here at Gamble Pavilion. Quinones looking to get downhill. There's Shade now carving her way through the defense, and Strong drains the three for the Huskies.
Just perfect basketball created by Ashlyn Shade with a strong take. She jump stops in the paint. If you watch UConn pass the ball, every pass is crisp. Every pass is perfectly into the shooter's pocket that allows Sarah Strong to just catch it and put it right up, where she's shooting more than 40% from deep this season.
Rising over everyone is Strong to snare that rebound. That is her 9th. And looking up ahead, Kaylee Heckel with the finish on the fast break.
And who had the vision and the pass? Miss Blanca. That is a freshman well beyond her years. And as we mentioned, she's only 19. So even though she's played 4 years of professional basketball, she started that at 15. She's really the normal age of a college freshman in the U.S.
Along the baseline, that three off target. There's Heckel. Gets 2 feet in the paint, leaves it for Strong. And too much that time. .45 seconds to go before the fourth quarter, and Sarah Strong ties her career high with a vicious block. That is 5 tonight.
Vicious is exactly the word. That's what most of her blocks have been tonight, just coming over from the help. Just a little swat right into the photographers. Tying that career high. The timing is perfect. The body position is perfect. She's getting maybe a little fierceness to her. She could maybe get a little more of a stare down on that one. She's earned that right.
24 points, 10 of 17 shooting, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 blocks for Sarah Strong. Caroline Ducharme new into the game for the first time. And not to shortchange Strong, also 3 steals. Off the miss, here's Henry accelerating into the front court, and Tambu scores at the rim.
Really impressive there, freshman to freshman. Kennedy Henry on the creation.
Final shot opportunity for Connecticut. Quinones going right at Watson, leaving it for Ducharme. She'll be shooting 2.
She was able to change the flight of that pass at the last possible second. She was about to throw it into a turnover. Gino would have had another $1 in his bank account. But it's like at the last second, she flipped it over to Ducharme.
A 31-point lead for the Huskies. Ducharme goes 2 for 2. 2.5 seconds left. Kelsey Jones will heave. And that's no good at the buzzer. So heading into the fourth quarter, 76-44 is UConn's lead.
Sarah Strong is just making Gamble Pavilion her playground tonight, making the hustle plays, knocking down from deep, and the defense has been outstanding. 5 blocks for Sarah Strong. UConn up big.
Who is a sophomore and illustrating what is already looking to be a pretty special career.
And Sloan, what's also remarkable about those numbers is that image we just saw of her. That's where she's been for the majority of fourth quarters this season because of the score discrepancy in most of these games. She's doing most of those numbers in just 3 quarters. She averages about 27 minutes per game.
Quinones on the follow. One more time looks to dish it off. It's going to stay UConn basketball. UConn led really from the very get-go. They led after the first quarter 26-8 and have been able to keep their foot on the throttle since. Heckle to bring it in. 10 to shoot for the Huskies. Here's Shade with a quick step. Kelsey Jones, normally a sharpshooter on this team. She's been bottled up in this contest. A transfer from Iowa State. Here's Bosco letting it fly from 3. And it's going to stay here with the Wildcats.
Yeah, they're the starters. I mean, that's pretty much how it's been, them getting involved in the cha-cha slide clap on the bench.
There's a lot of shenanigans that goes on over on that bench because they do lead in so many games. They're second in the nation, winning games by 38 points per game. That's only behind LSU. So they're entertaining over there too. Here's McCurry for 3.
Curry has had some nice moments in this game. We mentioned her improvement. Didn't play at all last season as a freshman. Was just averaging about 3 points per game. That's up to 12 this season.
Backdoor cut, Zabel with an easy lay-in. And no matter the score, the situation, UConn's offense will look beautiful. Poked away, still UConn basketball.
I mean, this team is just so deep. This is the second, or in some cases even the 3rd unit, and you have multiple McDonald's All-Americans on the floor, not even mentioning Quinones, who wasn't eligible for that because she didn't play high school basketball. She would have maybe been the MVP of the All-American game.
When we were talking to Denise Dillon today at shoot-around, she said, this is the best and deepest UConn team I've seen. And I followed up and said, oh, you mean in the 6 years you've been head coach? She said, no, ever in the history of the program. And that is some serious words she's saying for someone who has such a long Big East background.
Yeah, we know Denise Dillon played against UConn herself as a player. She did remember beating UConn here on this floor, and they went on to win their first national championship either that season or the season after. So really, Denise Dillon was a spark plug for all of the success we've seen from UConn.
And hey, she beat a team that had Rebecca Lobo, Jen Rosati, Jamel Elliott on that team too. They were younger in their careers, but that's when this dynasty and what we've come to know as UConn basketball was really burgeoning. And by the way, that happened back on January 17th, 1993. And it was fun to hear her reminisce. She said, I was actually thinking about that pass in the lobby at the hotel here today leading into this matchup. She remembers watching Carrie Bascom, a player she really admired, play at the Palestra in Philadelphia.
Shout out to the Palestra, my home arena. But Denise Dillon has done a really nice job with this Villanova program. They went to the Sweet 16 a couple years ago with Maddie Siegrist. And I mean, this game shows how good UConn is because Villanova is a really good offensive team. They won 12 of 13. They have a huge road win at West Virginia. And UConn has just had their way with them.
Talking about Villanova, 12 of their 14 wins have come by double digits, including 6 of 7 Big East wins as well. They had really been finding their stride, wins in 12 of their last 13 games overall, but then just meet the buzzsaw. That is the UConn Huskies.
Every team that has faced UConn this season has pretty much seen it. Maybe the exception of Michigan, who had that nice comeback, almost took down the Huskies, but they have really rolled in non-conference games, conference games. They do have Notre Dame coming up on Monday. We'll see what Hannah Hidalgo can bring to town.
Diana Patterson will be shooting too. Yeah, how about that matchup that is on deck? KK Arnold and Hannah Hidalgo.
Wow. Just clear the floor and let's see a full court one-on-one game. Talk about 2 guards who play both ends of the floor.
Yeah, a lot of similarities between those two. How they compete, how they value defense, how fast they are, ball in the hand and not.
Yeah, that should be an exciting game because Notre Dame is certainly trending upwards after a different start to the season than we're accustomed to seeing, but they just had a big road, or maybe it was a home game. Either way, they upset North Carolina pretty big the other day.
That fell out of the top 25 and have been trying to pick up their play. And what an opportunity it is for anyone to take on the Yukon Huskies, who are getting closer and closer to making it 34 straight wins going back to last year. That's the 7th best win streak in program history. They've won 55 straight Big East games, including tournament games as well. Lobbing to Danae Carter. She sweeps around Heckel, and the rebound brought down by Duchamp. Zabel way beyond the line. Another rebound for Duchamp. Heckel for 3. This is also the time, and of course, mentioned UConn winning games by 38 points per contest. It's given Coach Gino Auriemma a lot of opportunity to play with that depth, to play with different lineups as well.
Yeah, so he has players that, as they get into postseason in a couple months, are going to feel good about themselves when they're stepping onto the floor because they have had more extended minutes than most teams' benches in the country.
Great effort by Patterson, keeping that in play, sprinting down the floor now. And Ducharme is fouled by Carter. #1 team in the country, UConn, looking at their margin of victory against ranked teams. We talked about Michigan being close, but look at how big they are winning games against these ranked opponents.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa, very good team. I think we've both seen them this season. They have just torn up some really good teams. The dominance is remarkable.
Danae Carter for Villanova has just fouled out of this game. So the Wildcats losing some front court depth. Ducharme is fouled. It's always good to see Caroline Ducharme on the courts. This team still without Jana El Alfi. She's missed now 3 straight games after a concussion she suffered earlier in January. Still kind of taking it day by day with her as she seeks to return, but especially with the head injuries that Ducharme has had in her career. Anytime you see her on the court for a sustained period of time, it's a good feeling.
And the fans here just love her anytime she comes into the game. Her 5th season as a UConn Huskies. We look at a couple of those injured players.
Ice Brady, Morgan Shelley. Head coach Auriemma telling media this week he's not quite confident we might see them the rest of this season. It's a knee for Brady, an ankle for Shelley. They're not officially ruled out. And El Alfi is working on her return as well. Heckel, the mid-range is good.
As we mentioned earlier in the game, Gino Auriemma today told us Kaylee Heckel had maybe her best week of practice that he's seen, said she is making big strides game after game, week after week.
To shoot for the Wildcats. Ciceretti leaves it short. It's UConn basketball. 86-47 is UConn's lead. And they're enjoying it here, celebrating the champions. Having fun themselves with this big lead over a Big East opponent. Texas, UCLA, South Carolina. Did you make any adjustments there?
The SEC is going to be interesting because Texas was looking real good. They had beaten South Carolina and UCLA, but then LSU just beat Texas after they dropped a couple of games. So once again, the SEC absolutely loaded. And once again, Sarah, AZ, and KK seated in the bench having a good time in the fourth quarter, keeping the fans entertained.
We need the 3 starters broadcast view to just have a view of them.
We need
the fourth quarter.
Yeah, let's get Fox Sports on the live bench cam alternate feed. I know we did that like with Caitlin Clark a couple seasons ago.
Is Hackle darting to the rim after the shot on the other side by Bender, netting the 3. .340 to go here in Stores. Watson for 3, no good that time. She's 1 for now 5 career. All those attempts have come this season with Villanova. Elise Fisher in her first action gets to the cup for 2.
Hits just keep on coming for UConn, no matter who comes in the game. Bench looked like they like that lay from Elise Fisher.
Only player who hasn't scored, Ayanna Patterson. Could it be back-to-back here for Fisher? And that's 4 straight for the freshman from Baltimore.
They're saying 1 more. I don't know what they want 1 more of. Guess we need them mic'd up too.
Jones no good for 3. A 40-point UConn lead. Alisa Bell with the triple. Kim, I think I may have deciphered it. I think it means 1 more player to score, and that's Patterson, who I mentioned.
That's investigative journalism right there. I know you were investigating those heavy-duty stories in your career start.
This one I do have to give a shout out to our statistician Grace and I believe her. I think that's what it refers to.
Grace is the MVP of the night, stepping in at a late moment. Shout out to Grace.
She's done a fantastic job tonight. UConn leading 93-50, currently on a 7-0 run. And here's what's coming up for UConn. We've talked about that matchup with Notre Dame. Then back into Big East play, Georgetown, Seton Hall, Xavier, and the number 20 Tennessee. The last team to beat the UConn Huskies. Their last loss was February 6, 2025, almost a year ago, at number 19 Tennessee. They haven't lost since.
Revenge on the mind for the Huskies.
And for the Wildcats, who are set to drop to 14-4 this season, 7-2 in Big East play. We've got Butler, St. John's, Providence, and DePaul after that.
This will be interesting for Nova moving forward. They were second in the standings coming into tonight. Lost at Marquette. Big East getting interesting.
There it is, and a 3-point play on deck for Ayanna Patterson, and everyone has scored for the Huskies. The bench exploding with pride.
And this was a tough take from Patterson, who herself has been kind of in and out with injuries this season. Of course, returning after missing 2 years. KK Arnold, leader of the bench mob over there. These alums looking on. Brianna Stewart, Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis. They got to like what they're seeing out there.
Seconds to go here at Gamble. 95-50 is UConn's lead. That's a jump ball, keeping it right here. UConn has 4 players in double figures, led by Sarah Strong's 24. Arnold and Quinones with 13 apiece. Fudd with 14. Travel there by Cesaretti gives it back to the Huskies.
And again, that's pretty much 4 players in double figures through only 3 quarters. And that's how high volume those couple of scorers are. I know Quinones was here in the 4th a little bit, but the 3 starters I don't think have touched the floor in the 4th quarter.
No Husky has played more than 30 minutes. Ashlyn Shade leads the way at 29 minutes. There's a foul.
The foul starts with number 45, team's fifth.
UConn in the bonus here. Looking at UConn's points in the paint, 56. They have outscored Villanova collectively just with those 54 points in the paint, and they're outscoring the Wildcats in that category, 56-12.
I think that's a positive sign for them on a night where they haven't shot the three exceptionally well. They're 6 of 20, just 30%. We know they lead the country on the season at 41%, but that's important to say, hey, on a night where our threes aren't falling as often as we'd like, we can certainly score the ball inside or off the bounce.
Patterson had been 0 for 4 from the free throw line, and then she makes it. The crowd was really trying.
I thought they were about to give out like free Chick-fil-A sandwiches or something. This crowd went wild on that free throw.
Snatched away by Patterson, who's had a great couple of minutes. Did you just wish it was a giveaway for Chick-fil-A sandwiches?
Let's get this partnership going.
I've made a stop in my travels for a brickin' for chicken. Oh, a three-point play opportunity as she darts to the rim. Like she may have actually hit her head potentially on a camera right here.
A little slow to get up, but whew, how about that hesitation over to the left side? Kaylee Heckel is one of the best finishers in the country. Stamp it. She has so many highlights of circus shots this season, up and under, changing sides of the rim, right hand, left hand. Just add that one to her highlight reel.
I think because she's always willing to sacrifice her body, Kim. She just really goes hard all the time. And UConn can make things official here.
I think the crowd wants 100 points. The coaches are saying don't shoot the ball.
And Fisher's going to follow those instructions.
Smart choice.
UConn improves to 18-0. They've won 34 straight games overall, 9-0 in Big East play, and they take this one officially 99-50.